Hey, welcome everyone. Today we're jumping into one of the most important and honestly, one of the coolest topics in all of chemistry, organic compounds. And look, this isn't just about memorizing a bunch of weird formulas. It's about understanding the actual building blocks of life itself. And it all kicks off with a pretty interesting question.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. Fuel, plastic, and a headache pill. They seem totally random, right? One gets you from A to B, one is literally the case for the phone in your hand, and the other helps you feel better. But believe it or not, they're all connected by a fundamental chemical secret. And there's your answer. Every single one of them is an organic compound, and at the very heart of them all is the undisputed king of the elements, carbon. So today, we're going to get to know carbon a little better and see exactly how it builds the incredible world all around us. So here's our game plan. We'll start by exploring the world of carbon itself. Then we'll meet its simplest families, the hydrocarbons, before we unlock the real secret to organic chemistry, functional groups. We'll learn how to spot the most important ones, and finally, we'll connect it all back to why this stuff really matters, both for the world around you and, of course, for your exams. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the world of carbon. Because really, if you want to get a handle on organic chemistry, you first have to appreciate the absolute genius of this one element. It is the foundation for everything that follows. You see, carbon has two incredible superpowers. First up is something called tetravalency. All that means is that it can form four really strong, stable bonds with other atoms. Its second power is catenation, which is just a fancy word for its amazing ability to link up with other carbon atoms over and over, forming these long chains, branches, and even complex rings. Just these two properties are the reason millions of different organic compounds can exist. It's amazing, really. Okay, so if there are millions of possible compounds, how on earth do we make sense of it all? Well, chemists are smart about it. They organize them into families, which we call homologous series. We're going to start with the most basic family of all, the ones built from just carbon and hydrogen, the hydrocarbons. So, what is a homologous series, really? You know what? Think of it like a family of people. Every member shares the same last name, right? That's like their similar chemical properties and general formula. But as the family members get older, they change a bit. That's like the gradual change in physical properties, like boiling point as the carbon chain gets longer. It's a super clever way to keep things organized. So let's meet the three main hydrocarbon families you need to know: alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes. It's actually pretty simple. Alkanes only have single bonds between their carbons, and their names end in -ane. Alkenes have at least one double bond, and their names end in -ene. And you guessed it, alkynes have at least one triple bond, and their names end in -ine. That bond type is the key, and the name's suffix is your dead giveaway. Now, for a really crucial idea, the difference between saturated and unsaturated. Alkanes are what we call saturated. Just think of them as being completely full. They're holding on to the maximum number of hydrogen atoms possible. Alkenes and alkynes, on the other hand, are unsaturated. Those double and triple bonds are like little openings, ready for action. They can break open to add more atoms, which makes these molecules way more reactive. Okay, we've now reached what I think is the most important concept in all of organic chemistry. We're moving beyond the simple carbon skeletons to talk about the parts of molecules that give them their unique personality and reactivity. We're talking about functional groups. This quote right here nails it. If a hydrocarbon chain is the basic skeleton of a molecule, the functional group is where all the action happens. It's the active site. It's the part that's going to determine how that molecule behaves and reacts with everything else around it. And that's the key idea. A functional group is just a specific cluster of atoms that basically tells the entire molecule what to do. So if you can learn to spot these groups, you can predict how a molecule will behave without having to memorize thousands of different compounds. This is the real key to unlocking organic chemistry. And you know what? Spotting them is way easier than you think. Step 1, find the main carbon backbone. Step 2, just scan the molecule for anything that isn't a plain old carbon or hydrogen. See an oxygen? Or maybe a double bond? Step 3, that little specific group you found? Boom, that's your functional group. So now that we know what we're looking for, let's meet the VIPs, the essential functional groups that you absolutely need to know for your grade 12 exams. These are the ones that will come up again and again. First up, the alcohols. Their functional group is called the hydroxyl group. It's an oxygen bonded to a hydrogen, written as OH. The second you spot an OH group on a carbon chain, you know you're looking at an alcohol, and its name is going to end in -ol, like methanol or ethanol. Next, let's talk about carboxylic acids. Their functional group is the carboxyl group, which looks like -COOH.
It's a carbon atom double bonded to one oxygen and single bonded to another OH group. Their names always end in oic acid. For example, ethanoic acid. You probably know it better as the sharp-smelling stuff in vinegar. And finally for today, let's meet the esters. Their functional group is the ester link, COO. Now, a really easy way to remember esters is by their smell. They're responsible for so many of the sweet, fruity smells and tastes we love, like bananas, pineapples, and strawberries. Okay, so we've talked about carbon, hydrocarbons, and functional groups. But why does any of this really matter? Well, in this final section, we're going to connect all these dots to the real world, and, just as importantly, to your exam success. Remember that question about paracetamol from the beginning? Before, this molecule probably looked like a big, confusing mess of lines. But now, you can actually read it. You can immediately spot that hydroxyl group, that OH, and you know that's the signature of an alcohol. That group, along with others on the molecule, is exactly what gives paracetamol its power to relieve pain. You've learned to see the function in the form. And here's why this is so critical for your exams. In your final paper, organic chemistry can make up around 28 marks. That's not a small number. Mastering this section isn't just helpful, it is absolutely essential. That's a massive chunk of your final grade right there. And the questions you're going to face are directly related to what we just covered. You'll be asked to define a term, like homologous series. You'll need to identify a functional group in a diagram. You'll have to name a compound and write out its formula. This isn't just theory. It's a practical set of skills that translates directly into marks. So we'll end on this thought. You have just learned the basic language of organic chemistry. You can now look at the world, from the plastics we use to the food we eat, and start to understand the incredible molecular machinery that makes it all work. The world is built on these compounds, and now you have the key. So the real question is, how will you see the world of molecules around you now?